Hey there. I just wanted to take a minute and talk about my opinions on the the new Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to disappear for a few days because I'm getting ready to binge the new The Witcher series on Netflix. But as far as the new Star Wars goes, a lot of people are saying some negative stuff about it. I didn't think it was going to need me to do a review, but I felt the need to do it. The things that people are saying about this film are the same things you can say about any of the Star Wars films. Over merchandised characters that seem to be created for the sake of creating them just so they could sell more toys, inserting action pieces that feel like they could come from anything and aren't necessarily a part of the movie. All that stuff, you could say that about any of the movies. The only thing that separates the J.J. Abrams Star Wars franchise from the George Lucas franchise is the soul and the heart. It took me a while to get used to the fact that once George Lucas was no longer a part of the franchise, that the franchise would lose its heart and its soul, which it did. And there is a huge, huge difference between the original franchise created by George Lucas and the new franchise. They're almost not worth comparing. The amount of emotion, the depth, and all of the incredible new ways of looking at science fiction that were handled in the original Star Wars trilogy is just amazing and deserves to rank up there with some of the best films ever made. As for the new franchise, it's not anywhere near as bad as how they mishandled the Star Trek franchise, but the new Star Wars franchise, The Force Awakens took me a while to get used to, but once I did, I've come to love it, and I do love it. I think it's wonderful. And when the next one came out, I kind of, The Last Jedi it disappointed me a little bit. I felt that the soul and the heart was lacking to the point that it hurt the film a little bit. And but it took time, and I began to love it as well. And with the new one, I walked out knowing that I had gone in with this in my mindset, that they are heartless and soulless. And, they are now popcorn movies. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I liked it. A lot of people are having a problem with some of the plot points, and they feel like it feels slapped together, and that it feels like a committee got together and made this movie, which, you know what, they probably did. There was probably a committee that sat around a table and said things like, okay, we need to have 25% Anglo-American type people in the movie, but make them the villains. We also need to have 15% Hispanic, 15% African-American. Let's slap in 10% Muslim, and then maybe 15% from all different regions around the world, and then the rest of everything else will be an alien creature or a monster. Politically correctness, let's make sure that we don't use any profanity and make sure that there are lots of jokes. Not necessarily jokes like the first franchise that seemed like real people saying them and just, being naturally funny, like that person that's just funny. They're not trying to be funny, they're just funny. And that's what made the original Star Wars franchise so awesome, is that it wasn't trying to be funny, it just was funny. As for the new franchise, it's forced humor, just like the MCU, the other Disney Marvel movies. They feel forced. The jokes feel like jokes. They're setups. They're scenes that are setups to the jokes. And yes, this new franchise has that type of setups for the jokes. There are other things that this committee probably, were a part of and made sure that it would appeal to the masses. And I also agree that they probably had they could have even been filmed multiple story arcs and decided finally to go with this one that they've gone with, which I don't want to spoil for anybody. The most disappointing part about this movie is the timing, because they chose to release the new Star Wars right in the middle of the new Mandalorian TV series on Disney Plus. And the Mandalorian television series is so good, so close to the original franchise, so respectful of the source material, that it makes Jon Favreau seem like almost a god, and well deserving of his award of the best producer of the year. Why he wasn't a part of the new Star Wars franchise, I don't know. But my assumption is they're putting to sleep the original franchise. They've asked us to do that all along. Immediately upon the first of the new franchise, we were basically asked to put our original beloved characters to bed. They even killed them off. And, they highlighted these new characters. What I'm hoping for, what I'm crossing my fingers for, is that Jon Favreau is proving to Disney what he can do with this franchise. And that I think, just like Kevin Feige, they're going to hand over the Star Wars franchise to Jon Favreau. I think that's his dream, and I think that should be our dream, because it will be in good hands. He's proving that with Mandalorian. Anyway, I'm getting ready to go watch the new Witcher series on Netflix. I know it's going to be awesome, and, take care.